Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Zelda 2 Randomizer Max Rando tournament race. We have the two 4-0 players in Swiss stage, MiRai versus levelengine. We have Elendar commentating and Royal Cheese tracking. Take it.
Hi, and good evening, good night, wherever you're at. We should have one of the best races of the tournament, hopefully. This is our two remaining 4-0 players, MiRai and levelengine. There were 3 last round, down to 2 this round after MiRai took down Trails. The winner of this race is going to be our number 1 seed, and the loser of this race is probably going to be the number 2 or 3 seed. Doesn't matter a ton, but boy, is their bragging rights on the line, and we all know that that's what really matters here in Zelda 2 Randomizer. Both of these runners are, I'm sure, looking to go real quick, and I'm sure it's going to be a quick one, sort of regardless. You know, some of the max rando seeds can be real trolly, real difficult, but both of these two runners very proficient, even in 1 heart, 2 life death seeds. So we should have a pretty close race. Just starting up in a few seconds here. And we're off 2 lives, but 8 heart containers. We got a candle, we got a flute, we got cross, reflected spell, 3 gems, and a 2 lifer. But with 8, 2 lives kind of sucks, but with 8 bars of health, it shouldn't be too much of a problem here on our, what appears to be a vanilla-ish west. Got reflect to start with, and immediately bridge access to vanilla shuffle east. So levelengine finds shield out here in Old Kasuto, as MiRai just behind him gonna pick up the same thing. Real thankful they started off with the cross, or maybe a bit difficult to get into this, but with cross and downstab it's gonna be no problem whatsoever. Also starting with upstab. And attack 1 appears to be absolutely terrible, as expected, taking about 20 hits on the jackhammer to take one down, but a little bit of divergence. Levelengine going to continue searching in the east, where MiRai takes the up A. Gonna revisit this west, but I don't know how much there's gonna be. Okay, there is a road heading out of here. We're gonna get our first palace sighting. It's the Great Palace. So that's always nice, having Great Palace right next to start. Whenever you've placed your 3 gems, take a quick up A. 150 points there from the orange Daira. But MiRai figures with 8 bars of life, not even going to take life 2, just going straight for attack 2. Makes sense. And just a 1-up here. We're going to see a lot of additional small enemies in the pool, because we did start with 7 items if you count the 4 additional heart containers. And yeah, it looks like a dead end here in the west for MiRai. You're going to need the boots either in the northern section or the southern section of the west to get any further. So looks like both our runners getting sort of forced into an early Vanilla East. At the very least, it's the southern end of Vanilla East. There's a pretty high density of items down there you can get, even if you don't have very much. 150 point P-bag for MiRai. That's going to be a nice pickup. He's just going to take a diversity of levels. 500 points from levelengine is our second bag in the pool. Right? Thinking about whether he wants to take life 2, or levelengine rather. I don't blame him. You know, you've got 8 bars. You figure you can probably pass on some of those early life levels, but yeah, not a big deal either way. And levelengine's got a water tile sighting, but that's not going to be very useful. Got some desert tiles. Looks like the desert pass-throughs are pass-throughs in this. So going to be... sometimes vanilla Shuffle East can take pity on you, and a lot of the nastier terrain blocks and really linear sections turn out to not be so bad because they've got a lot of easy things to pass through. But this time it looks like there's a lot of actual forced tiles to walk through. Desert tile sighting, just a blue jar. Another one of those minor items getting added. MiRai going for the jumpless vanilla pass on this Death Mountain pass-through tile, and that is a rough trip, but hopefully Upstab getting him most of the way through. As a bat immediately trolls him into the lava. See if he's gonna head out and try to get the encounter skip. See if this blue as Alphos gives good experience. Taking a bit of hits. Attack 2 not that strong, but man, only 100 points is his reward. Not what you're looking for when you take the time to kill a strong enemy like that, but at least a life level is gonna recover all the damage he took previously fighting him. So levelengine getting a little bit of an early exploration advantage, but not too much, honestly. Most of this southeast really hasn't been very much, and Level's gonna just start working his way north through some of these pass-throughs. I don't blame him for wanting to avoid this path, and looks like the River Devil is hanging out in his vanilla location. But thankfully both our runners started with the flute, so it's gonna be no problem getting past him. But good job of the River Devil, doing his work. We can't always count on him to be on the job here in Zelda 2 Randomizer, but another desert pass-through tile here for levelengine. It's both of the Darunia entrance encounters. But Level's making quick work of these enemies, getting pretty decent experience out of it, almost all the way up to 1,000 for what is presumably attack 4. And hopefully some of these caves up here are item caves, because there's not too much further to explore, and there's got to be something that's going to help them progress logically. There's the raft tile sighting for levelengine. Unfortunately, no raft in their possession. And here's Risen P-Bag Cave. So pretty high likelihood progression's going to be in here. And at this point, it's got to come in the form of boots or the raft. I'm sure our runners are hoping for boots, but, knowing the randomizer, could very easily be the raft shoveling them into Death Mountain or something ridiculous like that. The glove, good pickup, not progression. Without either the any key, access to the fairy spell, the raft, potentially the hammer. There is a hammer block location in Logic. Or the boots. They are not going to be able to progress. So there's got to be one additional cave at least, probably off out near the vanilla raft tile area here in the east, as levelengine makes his way over there. Okay, not an item cave, but that is a pass-through, so... Okay, here's Sunken P-Bag Cave. I was going to say, if this isn't the path forward, probably that pass-through is next. I don't think we've seen the right side of a pass-through yet. I could be wrong. And we're going to see what the item is here. levelengine picking up attack 4. Wouldn't be surprised if his next trip is pretty much straight to attack 5. Anyway, yep. There's our progression, but it's just the raft. With any luck, that could take us to the second segment of the West. It's a pretty dense group of items there. Obviously, worst case scenario would be a trip to Death Mountain, which would be just the actual worst. MiRai taking an unfortunate dip into the water, and this is where 2 lives is starting to get really painful, right? Like you've got all the life in the world, but half of your resources get sapped away from one unfortunate bonk into the pit, and limited number of times you can do that before you're taking a free trip back to the West. So yeah, it does look like that raft tile led to the second segment in the West. I am assuming that's what this is. Yeah, and that segment also connects back to Death Mountain. It's an island's Death Mountain, and yeah, levelengine immediately dipping out of there. Gonna check the one cave right away just to see what it is, but ain't nobody got time for Death Mountain without boots. Meanwhile, MiRai, only a little bit behind. He's going to check this sunken P-Bag cave in just a second here, and he'll be sailing away over towards the west. Nice green color from the error sprite on levelengine's side. I like this tunic color for shield. We're going to see what wonderful bounty Medicine Cave gives us. Just a magic container. Not the worst. First magic container, always a welcome sight. Just make sure you have enough magic to cast Thunder. It's very likely that 5 containers is enough to cast Thunder, although not guaranteed. We did see that in a race recently where one of the runners, even on Magic 6 with 5 containers, unable to cast Thunder and cost them the race. So it's you get an item like that, and it's like, well, it's not really that much of a safety, and it's not that much progression, but it could definitely still make the difference. Another pass through here for levelengine, and Saria pass through, but it's the wrong side of Saria and does have Thunder. See if we get a Bagu sighting sometime soon. MiRai thinking about taking Risen P-Bag Cave, but no, he's just sailing across the land off to the west. And MiRai looks a bit confused, but figures out where he's at, where he's going. levelengine in a rather obnoxious grass tile encounter here, but does make it through without taking any damage. Thankfully, that grass encounter is associated with the road, so a little unlikely to occur by accident, and you can pretty easily avoid it if you want. MiRai is going to give at least this first cave in Death Mountain a look, and yeah, he's going to potentially look a couple more. He gave it more of a chance than levelengine did. Yeah, I mean, Bagu could absolutely still be required here. We have seen Saria. Saria is Thundertown, and the backside is not yet accessible. It's on the other side of a lake. Yeah, and the real scary thing is, can you imagine what the seed would have been like on fewer heart containers? There is a lot of combat you have to make your way through before any kind of safety. Neither runners have seen a a palace on the west they can reset in yet. And if it were a lower number of hard containers, this could have been real rough, but thankfully our runner's making pretty good time of this. But still a whole lot of nothing here on the west. Levelengine finds P-Bag Cave, and yeah, he is going to go up to attack 5 here. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next level for Levelengine is attack 6 as well. He's a big fan of high attack levels usually. Gets the medicine. Do not remember what the spell was in that town, but I'm sure if it's important, we'll see Levelengine turn around pretty quickly because he wasn't that far away from it. MiRai continuing on basically the same routing that Levelengine did, just a little bit of a hiccup early, costing him about a minute or so. Interesting. MiRai sees that that's not hard container cave, and instead of taking the pass through, just decides to look a bit further. Now trying to make up his mind whether he wants to take Parappa Cave there or not. And gonna reroute up to the north. Here's our towns for Levelengine. They're hiding in a cluster over here. You see 3 or 6. And Levelengine gonna fight 150 points for a red Iron Knuckle. And yeah, I think he's gonna farm out this level real quick and take an up A. Refill his lives. Oh, kills 2 Iron Knuckles and decides to give up. But only going to be about another 50 points. This should be it. And just Lifetown, Levelengine, not going to go through and even get the hint for that. I don't blame him. The only thing that could be really valuable from going through non-required towns right now is hints, for sure. We haven't seen any hints from either player, and a hint about, for example, the location of the boots would blow the seat open. And of course, there's still the possibility of a magic key. So MiRai did a little bit of backtracking to get that Risen P-Bag Cave item. Now going to be back on the west as well. We know that progression has to be over here, but who knows what it is. Since Levelengine's here in this town, and we already know Thunderspell is in Saria, pretty high likelihood. Again, I don't remember what this spell was, but if Levelengine's back here, I wouldn't be surprised if it were Fairy. And our friendly local Walmart has Shield Spell. Was it Shield Spell? No, Fairy Spell. Yes, sorry. Shield Spell was the new casino spell. So yes, Levelengine picking up Fairy, and that's going to get... Unfortunately, it's going to put all the palaces in logic, and so that's one of those things where it's like, well, if you're Levelengine, you absolutely could just start slamming palaces. You only need to put 3 gems in, but at the same time, you know, I was going to say you still don't have Thunder, but actually Fairy Spell also puts Thunder into logic for Levelengine if he wants to take a trip over to Saria. That's really the only thing he needs. I didn't get an eye on the mana cost for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if here at Magic 2, Levelengine's got 1 cast. And at only 2 lives, it's entirely possible that 1 cast of Fairy just is not enough to clear any given palace. The logic does not make any guarantees. 43, so yeah, not quite 2 casts. The logic doesn't make any guarantees about the number of doors that you could potentially have to ferry through. It just sort of assumes if you have ferry, you can clear a palace, but it doesn't take into account the fact that, well, you might have to be level 6 or 7 in Magic to actually have enough fairy casts to clear a palace on 2 lives. But we'll see. One of the nicer things is that his magic levels are still cheap, so in addition to potentially making his fairy more castable, each of them that he picks up is going to give him, at the very least, 1 more cast. MiRai getting the hint and finding out that he just needs to go west to find the medicine, which he's probably going to find very shortly. And levelengine making a smart decision. Oh, wow, good lucky red jar drop from that enemy. Doesn't even need to take the magic level yet. And because he can float a partial magic bar there, also going to give him another additional cast beyond that. Unfortunately, does he need to? He's got glove. He doesn't need to use it in this room. This room, glove or fairy blocked. You can get through with either. Also possible with the dash spell, which is unfortunately not in these max rando flags. I do understand why, but it's a fun one. Levelengine skipping Magic 3. Figures he's got enough, potentially wants to save it for later. You know, if he gets into a situation where he really needs that magic, he could pick up enough experience for Life 5 and then use the experience for Magic 3. Just sort of keep floating his options as far as recovering casts of his fairy spell. Here's the item room. And a magic container is at the very least free, and that does give him a second cast of fairy per level, and that's critical. That means that he'll be able to get a full 4 casts off on a full stock of lives, which is almost always enough to clear a palace out from the start, you know, even if it takes you an up A to find the fastest route. Question here on the levelengine side is going to be with how low on life he is. When he hits this life level coming up soon, is he going to take it just to get the refill or keep persisting to try and get attack 6 from the boss? I kind of suspect attack 6. Oh, and never mind, here's a free fairy to fill up his life anyway. Doesn't even want it. Just don't get hit, right? If you don't get hit, you don't need more life. MiRai's picked up his fairy spell. And ooh, here on Karak, we get assigned that Reflect is in fact linked to fire. Not going to be that useful on account of them having already started with Reflect, but oh, Karak decides to give levelengine the bop. Not going to be a problem. He's going to come back with another caster Reflect, and also Shield should be no problem, but look, Karak could decide to teleport into it 5 or 6 times. It's at least theoretically a possibility. Levelengine getting aggressive, trying to work his way a little bit in, get those reflects a little bit faster. Bosses may drop keys. We don't know yet, and they do. So that's nice. That key drop prevents levelengine from having to take an up A, because he did not have enough magic left to cast Fairy. I don't think a blue jar would have been enough either. I think he would have needed a red jar or an actual key drop in order to make it through there. So yeah, big gain for levelengine. He's, of course, going straight for attack levels. Wouldn't be surprised once again if the next palace is just attack 7, and then he closes out his leveling sequence with a big push from the final palace. MiRai also here in Palace 4. Again, pretty much taking the same route as levelengine here, and I don't dislike the pathing. Good news for MiRai here, Magic 4 is enough to get 2 casts of Fairy even with only 5 bars. So he's going to have no problem routing through here. Wow, and attack 6 is strong. Only takes about 5 or 6 jackhammers to take down that blue iron knuckle. 2 stabs for the doom knocker. I wonder if seeing how strong attack 6 is, Level Engine will, whether that's a sign for him to adjust his leveling at all, or just continue with the plan and go up to 7-3-4 and then probably in the neighborhood of 7-5-6 or 7-5-7. Rael with our tracker with the keen eyes, seeing that MiRai has picked up a small key in the drop pool. Something we hadn't seen previously, but it is nice to know. Level Engine picks up a key here on the ground. Yep. And MiRai continuing to take the same routing. This is all very natural routing that both of our runners have taken. In general, the fastest way to progress through a dungeon is you take every elevator that you can find, because moving up or down a screen on an elevator is just the fastest way to explore more screens. It's the shortest transition you can make. And I missed the item there for Level Engine. Looks like, any key. That's a strong pickup. Although at this point, not entirely necessary. But I say, yeah, in general, you want to go up and down elevators as much as you can because they're quick explorers. And then beyond that, take as many rights as you can, because while the item room can be a right or a left, the boss room can only be encountered going up or down in an elevator, but also going right. And so, unless runners feel like they're really behind and they've got to gamble, you'll see sort of a natural routing through palaces. Go in, take the left because you have to, go up the elevator because it's the fastest thing, and then just take the first right. Right, thinking about his leveling here, you're going to skip out on another magic level to try and get attack 5. I like it. And yeah, MiRai just with ended up routing a little bit. Ooh, good catch for Level Engine, ferrying his way out of the lava, but he's very, very low on life. Good manipulation for the sine wave heads, and square wave heads as well. He makes it through. And we had seen this before, and I didn't bring attention to it. This 3 or 6 Level Engine is in fact Palace 6, which kind of unfortunate. But wow, MiRai looks in this last cave that Level Engine didn't find his way into and finds the boots. So that's potentially a huge gain. I wouldn't be surprised if MiRai ends up heading down into this Palace 6 that Level Engine's in, but as soon as MiRai gets out of here, Level Engine's going to have to walk, this sort of slow on foot way back to some of these other palaces. And MiRai's just going to be able to take a quick little shortcut across the water. So those boots probably going to end up making up a good part of this difference between them. It'll sort of depend on exactly where Level Engine goes. But more than that, having the boots might significantly influence which palace MiRai does for his next palace. Level Engine is almost certainly going to get out of here and then go back to the 2 palaces he knows, probably doing Palace 2. However, there's still one more palace here on the west that... actually, sorry, that's not true. GP is here on the west. So it's possible that MiRai takes a look and finds a faster palace, potentially Palace 3 or Palace 1. Even beyond the difference in routing speed coming up to the next palace. But Level Engine does, use the elevator routing, finds his way to Barba, and with attack 6, it's just going to absolutely melt. No jackhammer stretch for Level Engine because he doesn't have the jump spell, But playing a little bit risky and getting rewarded for it. It's going to be almost certainly a 3-cycle at attack 6, which is very good. Yeah, if levelengine decides to go looking for items, he probably will find the boots. However, knowing levelengine, he may suspect, well, I'm pretty much in go mode, right? If I just walk back to the palaces that I know, clear one of them, and then up A to GP, right? What do I need to go looking for more items? And so we'll see. Okay, it is looking like he's going up to it. So yeah, that's gonna burn away any advantage MiRai had from finding these boots early, but it's still very close. Yeah, and levelengine smartly gonna take an up A there. This is gonna be the fastest way back to where he wants to go. I think it's probably faster for him to go back to the raft tile rather than taking the bridge. And that does appear what he's doing. He's going to walk over onto the river here and then walk up the river to the raft tile. Nope. Changes his mind. Makes me wrong. He's going to take the walk through Valley of Death here. But this is a bit of a walk. He's going to go through the Valley of Death and then both of the Darunia pass-through tiles in Wilson Road. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get to the palaces, but not like a huge amount of additional time. Probably the difference in routing only at most 30 seconds one way or the other. Oh, the palace is in the southeast of east. Sorry, I thought they were in the northeast of east. If they're in the southeast of east, then this is going to be faster. Excuse me. Because I know there's this fake palace here, but yeah, okay. They're just sort of hiding down here. Lucky Jar pick up there from levelengine to start. I guess it's Palace 2. It's not lucky at all. It's 100% drop rate. But gonna fill up his magic nice and easy. And these are the little optimizations that levelengine makes to just go as fast as possible. He says, this Palace 2 is going to be easy. I've got attack 7. I've got 8 bars of life. I don't need to pick up that fairy. If I picked up that fairy, it would freeze the screen for somewhere around 2, maybe 3 seconds. And I don't need an additional little bit of health to burn 2 or 3 seconds. Ooh, levelengine. Trying to get that that double block break on the short jumps is very easy. On the long jumps, it is much more precise. A lot of runners will stop, make the jump, and then do another jump to break through the rocks. But it is possible to get across and break both blocks at the same time, but not easy. But again, this sort of, difficult advanced trick levelengine's trying to do to shave off as much time as he can, because, he's got to figure at this point, wow, this seed's been fairly straightforward. I know MiRai is a good player. He's probably been doing basically the same thing, and we're probably neck and neck right now. levelengine going to get the item here. Don't know what he was hoping for, but it's just a pea bag. All of the potentially required items are in his inventory. Magic Jar wouldn't be the worst. We don't know. Neither of our runners have gone to pick up Thunderspell after getting Fairy. As MiRai sort of continues to have a bad time here in Palace 6, not nearly finding that elevator that leads down to Barba as fast as levelengine did. Oh, and the square wave head's just refusing to let him pass. Thankfully, MiRai had picked up an extra life somewhere in there, so he's still got his starting 2 lives here. Oof. And just another bot from the heads. And I don't know how much it costs, but one possibility here is, and this sounds crazy, casting the reflect spell so that you can have fire beams to take out the heads from a distance, or sort of just set up a screen as you're going. Sort of one of the very few rare opportunities where the fire spell is useful for being fire and not just for being linked to something else. Sort of setting up a screen of a couple fireballs to shield your way against any heads that might be interfering with you. Levelengine hits this dead end room, not quite recognizing that it is the vanilla, one of the vanilla dead end variants of that room and not the one that's a pass through. As MiRai does finally make it through and get to Barba. It'll take him a little bit longer on attack 4, but he's got still a pretty good damage rate. Probably going to be 4 or 5 cycles at this point. He's got about a half down on 2. It's the lucky placement to the right. Is it going to be a 4? Nope, 5 cycle. So Levelengine finds another dead end. Man. This is going to be enough for a level for MiRai. He's going to take life 6. He's going to get attack 5. Oh no! Doesn't quite make the jump. It ends up in the lava. That's going to be a game over for MiRai, and he just can't believe it. He tried to cast fairy and catch himself, but just not in time. Yeah, that's a big trip. That's going to cost him a couple minutes to walk back here. Thankfully, Barba will remain dead, but not what you're looking for. Especially, in any race against a Levelengine, you have to figure you're behind at all times. So, and MiRai probably suspects it, but it is the truth, because Levelengine hits Helmet Head about 3 times, and it's going to get 8,600 points here for attack 8 in quotation marks, but this is almost certainly going to be a couple levels each of magic and life. I know Levelengine will, given the opportunity here, he'll take magic 6 over any of his life levels if he has the opportunity, but sort of depends on how the experience lies. We'll see. Yeah, gonna take magic 6, and yeah, wow, that's actually so much. He's gonna be able to get 7-6, 7-7-5. Wow, really good experience for a 3-gemmer. That's sort of the benefit of this early attack experience routing that Levelengine likes to take. While it does definitely make you a little less safe early, with a lower life and magic levels that you're taking, it's fast because you're getting a lot of attack levels early, and also you end up at a much higher level than you otherwise would by getting all of those big juicy experience buffs from killing bosses when you're already on a very high attack level. So here's GP, and boy is it purple. not the color you usually expect from GP. Yeah, level not picking up Thunder. Man, if Thunder were really far away, I would say, yeah, sure. Just put your foot on the gas, run in there, no problem. But given that Thunder is only probably a minute to a minute and a half away by walking over the water, we know that there's a direct water route all the way to Saria to get Thunder. Well, That's the thing, Animus. It's not really it was in an obnoxious spot when they originally got there because they had to go to the east and then take the pass through on the west. Take the pass through the raft to get all the other way around. It was a big trip. Now that they have the boots, they can just walk across the river. I think there's probably, we haven't seen this from the runners because neither of them have explored that area of the map, but there's probably a direct water route from the start all the way to Saria. You might have to cross a little bit of land. I don't think it would be that far. Assuming there's not like some random mountain range spanning from the north to south, which of course the randomizer can do. But maybe levelengine thinks he's behind, or he just feels like he's in a gambling mood. I don't blame him. If you are in a race that's the 4-0 race, right? You're trying to save as much time as you can, take as many gambles as you feel like you need to in order to save time. And if Thunder turns out not to be required, right, that minute or two could be absolutely the difference. And unfortunately for MiRai, he just took a really, really bad death. We did get a Thunderbird sighting there, but again, levelengine going to have to back off of it and keep exploring the rest of these paths. Oof. Another death from MiRai, but he is very close, and thankfully that was just his first death, so he is able to just ferry through this room, not take any chances with the lava. Levelengine finding yet another fork. Good work on the heads. MiRai makes it through. Yeah, definitely agree with the sentiment from chat that if you're MiRai here, you gotta think you're super far behind. But at the same time, right? Like, if levelengine does just, he has determined that what he wants to get here is. I'm surprised MiRai didn't just cast Fairy immediately, heading back across that gap. But he decides he does want to get the Thunder Spell here. And yeah, there's a little bit of a ground walk because you got to get between these lakes. But he should be in Saria in no time here. MiRai does take the up A out of 6. He's going to head out to 2 as well. The levelengine almost makes it to Saria, gets into another encounter, but MiRai this time has fairy feet across the gap. Yeah, GPs that are just hold left can sometimes be the trolliest. We've definitely seen at least a few GPs in this tournament where one or both runners spent a whole lot of time digging around when the solution was in fact to just hold left. But it's a gamble, right? It is more likely that right is going to get you there than left, but more likely is not all the way likely. Yeah, the level discrepancy is largely just a difference in the way our runners have taken their levels. MiRai has been using, take all of the experience as I get it strats, which puts you at a higher life and magic level early. It's a safer strat, but it does mean that you don't get as much maximum in the end. Levelengine got almost 9,000 experience points from placing his last gem that he was able to use to pick up 4 levels of magic and 2 of life just from that last palace. So but it's he doesn't know how far ahead he is. And, you know, there's still some chance MiRai could catch up. You know, this Palace 2 is not that long. And I don't think levelengine exhaustively checked every single path. I might be wrong about that. It's possible that there is another non-Thunderbird path, and MiRai will get lucky finding it. You know, we've definitely seen runners head into GP with 10-minute leads and end up not winning. But yeah, for sure, levelengine has really all the advantages right now. As here's Thunderbird, and MiRai's levelengine's thinking about it. Well, if he was thinking about not doing it, he despawned the elevator, so now he's stuck. And he's gonna get through it. Attack 7, making extremely short work of this Thunderbird. Just 2 or 3 more hits here gonna take him down. Yeah, last cycle. Easy peasy. And that key pickup means that even if we encounter the double glove block key block room, levelengine will be prepared to deal with that. Sort of the last great troll that you could get in GP is requiring, although I guess he already picked up the magical key, so wasn't an issue to begin with. Right, unfortunately forced to take an up A, and he looks a little bit dejected about just unfortunately finding every single way that isn't the way forward in both this 2 and 6. But still no sighting of Dark Link here. GP is going to make levelengine work for it. The longest of unnecessary elevators, but the slow elevator does take us all the way to Dark Link. And with Shield Spell available, 4 bars of life, and I think an extra life in the bag, we should see a win pretty shortly here from levelengine. Applying maces directly to Dark Era's knees, and with an official race time of 46 minutes and 28 seconds, levelengine is our winner of this race and of the Swiss. And MiRai has forfeited shortly after. Doesn't feel like finishing this one out. I don't blame him. See if either of our runners are interested in coming in and having a chat with us. Looks like levelengine will be joining us shortly. Just a moment while he comes in, but yeah, I mean, it's this was a rough one for MiRai. I don't blame him for just wanting to get away from it. You know, this seed basically turned out to be a foot race. Not a lot of, you know, real difficult routing or anything. You just went the only way you could, and you went as fast as you humanly could, and levelengine went very, very fast. So with this going up to 5-0, I think we're almost finished with the Swiss rounds here. Next week we'll be moving on to the brackets, and we're going to see both of these players in the brackets probably for quite some time. But just to talk about some of the stuff that's coming up, our bracket flags have a bit of a twist this time. There's a whole bunch of possibilities in the pool, and our flag set variation will be determined randomly, as Max Rando does, between one of a few different options. Our runners will only know right before the race as the seed rolls which of the different random sets are possible. So we could see the return of palaces continuing after bosses. We can see some different starting conditions. I am not entirely sure, but I think at least one of the sets may include the dash spell for our dash spell fans in the audience. I'm not entirely sure about that. Don't quote me on it. But I know that we've got some interesting options. Yeah, thankfully, none of the flag set possibilities for the brackets include one hit KO, as is. Well, that is an option that the randomizer has available. I don't blame anyone for deciding that they absolutely don't want to do it. I know there are at least a couple members of the community who really like the hardest of hard flags, but it's rough, and even outside of one hit KO, we've had at least a few seeds. I can think of a couple examples in this tournament where one starting hard container, 2 maximum lives has turned out to be just absolutely brutal on our runners. So we'll see how our runners deal with the potential changes coming up in the bracket flags. But there should be a bunch of that next week. I know we should have an announcement of the bracket probably sometime this week around Saturday or Sunday once everyone finishes up with their races, and then we will see races starting up next week for that. Just waiting on levelengine. Not entirely sure if he is coming in for the interview or not. No blame him if he doesn't want to, but we're just trying to get some confirmation. And while we're waiting, I'm going to check the standings and see if I can give people a rundown of our currently running tourney and who we'll be seeing in the brackets. Obviously, both of our runners here, MiRai and levelengine, have made it. We're also going to be seeing, I know Para and Trails both going to be appearing as well. See if I get the standings. Is that levelengine? Yes, indeed. Hello, levelengine. GG's. Nice race.
Hello, Eleanor.
That was it seemed like a fairly straightforward one. You just sort of went to the only places you could logically went, put your foot on the gas, and a real clean clear.
Something about the gas and a clean clear?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, sorry about that. I was saying it was the seed felt like it was really straightforward. You went everywhere you could logically go. You got all the required items. Quick clears on all the palaces.
Maybe not 2, but every other palace.
Yeah, two was rough for both you and MiRai. MiRai unfortunately took a really bad death right at the end of 6, and you guys were fairly close up to that point, and he basically had to reclear. Yeah, he basically had to reclear all of 6. It cost him about 5 minutes, and so he was finishing up 2 right as you were killing Dark Link, and it was all over at that point, obviously. But I think one of the biggest differences was, I know you're a fan of high attack leveling strats, and MiRai was just going with the more standard life heavy strats, and attack 6 especially just was a huge difference.
It's often these attack levels that really end up paying off.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was here. Like, even between attack 5 and attack 6, it seemed like it was almost twice as strong with how it rolled.
And eventually ended up just settling on attack 7 for the end.
Yeah, I think it was fairly reasonable. I mean, you got, 8,900 points or something like that for attack 8?
Put them all on attack 8, I put them on other stats.
Yeah. It was, you got like 4 bars of magic and 2 of life from that chunk of points, so...
Yeah, I meant to get life 6, but I misclicked. I was just hoping that wouldn't really screw me up too badly, and clearly didn't.
Yeah, I mean, with 8 bars of life, life 5 probably good enough, and it didn't look like it was very...
First place.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think everything you did was very reasonable. I mean, we were wondering whether you were going to go and get Thunder or not. It's sort of a coin flip, and it did end up being required, but easily couldn't have been. But yeah, not a whole lot to say. Really well done.
Speaking of which, Thunderward's room, I might have despawned the elevator before doing...
You did despawn the elevator. I didn't know that was possible. I saw you sort of... Right? Yeah, I saw you sort of not... I wasn't sure if you were sure whether you wanted to go fight him or not. Then you despawned the elevator. Like, well, I guess I gotta fight him now.
Yeah, I assume you only get disqualified if you actually jump down the despawned elevator.
Yeah. You're not... I mean, like... presumably you could just up A if you accidentally take a bad path. But yeah, no, I've never seen that particular despawn before. But you cleared Thunderbird so quickly that
it came up earlier this tournament, actually.
Yeah, I remember seeing Zarnax do the despawn. Yeah. Oh, I've seen. It wasn't that elevator though. It was. I think it was a different elevator that he despawned. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I watched the race, but.
Well, he fell down that elevator shaft because the elevator wasn't there, so he was going up that elevator and upwards led to Thunderbird's room.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a really good race. I mean, you're 5-0 now. Any thoughts on the moving on to the bracket stage? The flags or your opponents or this tournament?
Well, I don't think so. Not at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's not actually a ton to talk about. I mean, this was very well executed. But that's really all I have. Good luck to you moving on in the brackets. Probably. I have to imagine, I don't remember, I think it's something like 10 or 11 people are going to make it, so you'll probably have a first round bye, but look forward to seeing you.
One number of players in probably will.
Yeah, I don't think it's a clean 8, and it'll probably, like I said, it'll probably be 9 or 10, which means there's only going to be a few people playing. I haven't actually looked at the standings to get an exact number. It sort of depends on where some of the pair up, pair downs go this week. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to be a favorite going on to win this tournament, and good luck to you in the brackets.
Possible. That would be my first tournament win. Should I get it?
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a few people I think are definitely favorites, and you and MiRai are sort of on top of that list. So, a win here puts you in good position. But Max Rando's Max Rando, so. But I think that's all I have. Any last thoughts, or we can take it away?
All right, so I'm probably gonna just head out at this point.
All right, GG's.
Yeah, you guys can take it away. Thank you for, of course, putting all this on in the first place.
All right, so we got one more Max Rando race this weekend. Bob the Elder's Victor Santa Fe at 10 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Going on over on ZSR Main, we have MMR Co-op Tournament Season 1 Grand Finals Game 1 of a best of 3, so we'll go say hi to them. Thank you to Alan Dark for commentating, thank you to Rail Cheese for tracking, and make sure to give her a until next time, have a good night.